All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. We want to begin with crude oil because the price of crude oil continues to hit levels that could be worrisome for consumers of petroleum products. It surged to $88 a barrel this morning on the world market. The development will lead to more hikes in fuel prices at the pumps in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, an energy expert has highlighted underinvestment as a major factor for the continuous increase in fuel prices. According to Nana Mwesi VII, lack of investment in Brent crude has led to falling supply in crude oil, causing high demand for products. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
On the international markets, we are seeing two things happening. First, we've seen a squeeze in supply of crude oil and also a demand for fuel, and that of crude oil. What is accounting for the falling supply of crude oil is one, OPEC members are struggling to pump at their allowed capacities because of underinvestment or outages. One of these outages was seen just a few days ago when an Iran group attacked a United Arab Emirates oil depot. Then also we see tension between Russia, a major crude exporter, and Ukraine. But in all this, we are also seeing demand for crude oil and finished products because comparing the first wave of COVID-19 to Omicron, you don't see any form of restriction. And so there's mobility, and also with steam production still going on compared to what we experienced during the first wave of the COVID. Supply chain not seeing any significant disruption. And so there's high demand for fuel and crude oil on the world market while there's falling supply of same commodity. That's what's accounting for this. And all this geopolitics has been priced in by the markets.
And another story developing we are following for you. Some oil marketing companies are in court over failure to pay more than 220 million cedis in taxes to the state since 2019. The Ghana Revenue Authority, which is leading the prosecution, has decided to go this way after several efforts to retrieve the funds failed. These taxes were collected by the recalcitrant OMCs on petroleum products between 2018 and 2019. Reverend Dr. Amishadai Owusu Amwa is the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
I think that we have seen a significant improvement in the payments from the oil marketing sector as we focus more on them. For those who have not paid, as you might be aware, there are over 30 of them that we are prosecuting.
You're going to have to prosecute them?
Oh yes, we have started prosecuting them in the courts. And I'm sure if you speak to them, they will know. And since we started, some of them have come to negotiate and started paying. But those who will fail will continue the prosecution to its ultimate conclusion. And currently I know that there are about 30, and some of them have already appeared in the courts. And we think that this year we might have to even talk to the Chief Justice to add one more court, because we started with just one. And we see the volumes, the numbers, and so we will continue to pursue them. We have put various restrictions, and at the same time, if you talk about being friendly, we also try to see, let's say for example, if you give you the chance to be able to pay over a period of time, and at the same time, we don't allow you to take on credit. When I say on credit, you pay upfront the tax before you take, so that you'll be in business. So you are not adding to the debts, but at least you are in business to be able to reduce the debts. But all this depends upon you satisfying a number of conditions that we will put across to the OMCs. And I think that we are seeing a significant improvement in compliance and payment. And we'll continue. There are a number of options that we are looking at as far as increasing the compliance. And if necessary, we'll put up any of those options that we think that will ensure that they pay.
Well, so this action by the Ghana Revenue Authority to prosecute OMCs that have defaulted in taxes demonstrates the current challenges facing most oil firms in the country. This has compelled the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to review the licensing requirement for firms. Moving on, the World Bank is committing some $40 million to the Venture Capital Trust Fund through the National Development Bank for its operations and on lending to the private sector. The money will boost the capacity of the fund to deliver on its core mandate of providing support for small and medium enterprises. Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta revealed this at the swearing-in of the board of the fund.
Swearing in the board of the fund, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta said the World Bank facility of $40 million will complement other government initiatives aimed at making the Venture Capital Trust Fund a world-class state agency. According to the minister, the fund is coming at a good time when all necessary challenges with the management of the trust fund have been dealt with.
You look at most of these funds that have grown, they are usually able to leverage whatever you give them by about 10 times. So with this $40 million that is coming through our resources from the World Bank, they really should be able to leverage that, and it is that type of entrepreneurship that they themselves should show. But as I mentioned, the visible hand of the state must always be there to somehow prod them and find other resources to support them. Yeah.
Meanwhile, former managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Kofi Yamwa, has been sworn in as the board chairman of the Venture Capital Trust Fund. He will be leading the team to ensure that the fund plays a critical role in government's quest to enhance investment for SMEs and making the country a financial sector hub.
We intend to build a strong corporate governance structure because you alluded to in your statement, so that, among other things, we can right the bad pessimistic attitude of the past in which it was seen in some kind of light. You rightly also indicated that Ghana, in setting up VCTF, had the SME sector very much in mind, and I indeed support that it should be the focus of this institution. But rightly, as you said, resources to VCTF have dried up very much in the recent past. So it was one of the things that I was going to mention, that in your second term as Honorable Minister of the Ministry, you should right that wrong. Fortunately, you've alluded to some interventions that are on the way for which you needed to put this board quickly in place. We're very grateful for that.
Chief Executive of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, Yao Owusu-Brempong, assured that the new board will work hard to turn around the fortunes of the company. Other members of the board include Yao Owusu-Brempong, who also doubles as the Chief Executive, Dr. John Kuma, also a Deputy Minister for Finance, and Kosi Yankee Aye, Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
Now, the Ghana Supply Company is making a case for a policy directive to compel all state agencies to subscribe to its services. According to the company, this is the surest way to revive its operations and make profit for the country. Board Chairman Major Daniel Ablo-Kwako, retired, told Joy Business making the company the sole supplier of goods and services to state agencies will position it as a competitive firm. He spoke to Joy Business after a short ceremony to swear in the reconstituted board in Accra.
I mentioned in my brief remarks is that of resources. The company, because of its recent past, hasn't got the working capital to be able to make an impact. The competition in the market is very fierce, but it's a government organization. Whereas the private sector can do certain things, a public company cannot do those things. So we need resources in order to be able to compete effectively. And our market is very limited because of the lack of resources. But if we get government support, then we can move forward and be able to, make the company become profitable.
How does government comes in here, apart from giving you the funds? You did mention some monopolies that were broken, and it's not been good for you. How does government comes in here?
I think in fact, we are not really looking for funding. We are asking government to come out with some kind of policy directive that will enable Ghana Supply Company to obtain business from government establishments, as it used to do. Like if any ministry or department has goods in the ports to clear, the first point of call should be Ghana Supply Company. If we are unable to do it before they can go into the market. So if we have that support, then of course we'll be able to accumulate enough funds to be able to compete effectively going forward.
Are you willing to put this idea to either the minister or cabinet?
We have done that before, and so we will continue to emphasize it. We wrote out our plan in the strategic plan. It is still there, and the SIGA has it, and so we'll make an effort to get SIGA to pursue it and get it properly done for us.
Well, after swearing in 8 members, a Deputy Minister of Finance, Abner Osei, urged the board of the Ghana Supply Company to improve its corporate governance legacy to make it a profitable one.
What we would like to urge you to do and to look out or watch out for is to adhere to the Public Procurement Act of 2003, Act 663, and the Amendment Act, Act 914. We'd also want to urge you to exhibit accountability in all that you do. We are hoping that with hard work, we will see the company on track, and the company will soon be able to make some profits and also pay dividends to the states. That is what we are hoping for. We in the Ministry of Finance, together with SIGA, will continue to support you to enable you discharge your mandate as the chairman and directors of Ghana Supply Company Limited. We have no doubt in your abilities to perform, and we know that you go all out and make Ghana Supply Company Limited a company that we all will be proud of, a company that will help government in the discharge of government duties as well.
And you're watching Business Live. Still to come, following the fish downgrade, the Association of Ghana Industries urges government to be more innovative in generating domestic revenue.
Government to be very innovative in generating domestic revenue to shore up its appetite for credit, such that it will not crowd out the private sector's relationship with our commercial banks.
Hello, welcome back to Business Live. We have some more stories for you tonight. The Association of Ghana Industries is calling on government to be innovative in generating domestic revenue. According to President of the Association, Humphrey Eyim Dake, this will prevent rising public spending that will drive down the sector and the economy at large. He explained that government's inability to be strategic in raising adequate funds will have great impact on economic growth.
Well, once the rating comes out, there are implications in terms of government's ability to raise international funding to complement its deficit. And in the reverse, government then focuses on domestic borrowing. The domestic borrowing has consequences for the private sector in terms of raising significant funding for our various businesses. Our cry is that government to be very innovative in generating domestic revenue to shore up its appetite for credit, such that it will not crowd out the private sector's relationship with our commercial banks. Secondly, we also need to send the concern that government needs to manage its priorities carefully, such that it will not stifle growth in terms of contraction. Because once government does not raise the reasonable funding to bridge the gap, there could be austerity, and if that becomes the case, contraction and growth will be affected. Our prayer is that government will be very innovative in domestic revenue mobilization, such that the growth target and anticipation for the private sector and the country as a whole will not be affected. We know such ratings are periodical, and therefore into the year, definitely once government policy priorities and policy strategies are rolled out and approved in Parliament, the rating position might change and aid government rake in the relevant funding to do its various projects such that there will not be contraction and growth will come into the country such that we all benefit from it one way or the other.
We're taking you next to the Ashanti region, where over 30 unemployed graduates have been trained in the development of mobile applications. The initiative by local business incubator Kumasi Hive is in line with the government's vision to support the youth in Ghana venture into entrepreneurship. Organizers are enthusiastic the project would alleviate unemployment in the region and empower the youth in establishing their businesses. Emmanuel Bright Kwaku has more in this report.
Available statistics indicate Ghana has the highest mobile penetration in West Africa. Mobile adoption in the country stood at 55% at the end of 2019, higher than the West African average, which was at 44.8%. With an increasing usage of mobile technology, a horde of people can be served through digital services to positively impact the growth of digital economy. The business incubation firm Kumasi Hive believes the mobile space holds huge potential for the youth. Priscilla Sewajisi is the project lead for the Kumasi Startup Summit.
As part of Kumasi Hive's responsibility to get the youth in Kumasi and Ghana as a whole to understand and introduce them to digital skills. Again, Kumasi Hive has trained youth in mobile app development with Flutter. Today, we are having a pitch day which these youth who were trained in these skills are telling us productive gains and business opportunities they can get from mobile app development.
The Kumasi Startup Summit saw over 30 youth from different parts of the Ashanti region pitch their business ideas under a 6-week training. The business development training birthed a mobile application expected to aid in the purchase of groceries for students in boarding school. The young developers who emerged winners of the pitch explained the difficulty of students accessing groceries at boarding schools influenced the development of the app. Derek J is the project lead.
Maso basically is an app that users can use to order provisions for the awards at the boarding house in secondary schools in Ghana. So the app is meant to solve a problem where a student who is a boarder, the student runs out of provision items. The student might call the guardian, the family, or the parent, but the parent might not have the time to attend a visiting day. And with the coming of COVID, most schools have cancelled their visiting days. So then, how will this kid or how will this school child be able to stock their provisions?
Development officer for the Tumfo Charity Foundation, Kobna Wusu Abibio, is optimistic the mobile application development training would reduce the increasing unemployment situation in the Ashanti region.
So we believe that as young people are learning how to develop apps, they will also engage business operators to integrate these apps into their businesses, and by so doing, they will increase their productivity, employ or engage more people, and ultimately reduce unemployment.
From Kumasi for JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright Kwaku reporting.
And that's our bulletin tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Just want to update you on some of the stories trending on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Do not take Ghana's downgraded credit rating for granted. Professor Mensah will return to Parliament with e-levy and ensure passage in January 2022. That's according to Edu Boying. That is very interesting. More on our top story, World Bank to inject $40 million into the Venture Capital Trust Fund. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.